One of the ancient wonders of humankind has been seeking out the origin of human life. We still haven't confirmed exactly where and how human beings came to populate our planet. While these questions have sparked endless heated debates for many lifetimes, we can safely say that the jury is still out. The only answers we have in the bank concerning the birth of human life are theory and faith-based, with science still lagging behind. Did humans come from outer space? Some scientific community members believe that we humans may actually be aliens either directly or indirectly. While it may sound far-fetched, there are several logical reasons for this theory to be plausible. For one thing, there's far more outer space in our universe than there is Earth. Let's examine 5 reasons why humans might have come from outer space. Number 5. Life found on an asteroid. There's been more than one study about living organisms surviving a space journey on an asteroid. A German microbiologist named Gerda Hornack from the German Aerospace Center learned that bacteria could survive in space for several years. During the 1980s, she placed living organisms on a NASA satellite to assess their survival skills. Without any nutrients, these bacteria created resilient spores that became their defensive shell. While intense ultraviolet rays killed off the top spore layer, these dead spores wound up serving as a shield to protect the life inside. Even after 6 years had elapsed, the bacteria managed to survive the frigid vacuum of outer space, much to the amazement of everyone. Superscript 1. Tardigrades are also able to survive UV exposure without any issues. Now let's consider microorganisms that are shielded from harmful UV rays while inside a meteor. There's not much doubt that it could survive a very long time in space under those conditions. Some studies indicate that microbes could live for hundreds of millions of years in a dormant state behind a meteor's protective walls. Number 4. Genetic material found in meteorite. In the 1960s, the genetic materials of life were discovered within a meteorite that had crashed into Earth. Believe it or not, evidence also indicated that its carbon-based components, like amino acids and sugars, were created in space while riding the meteor. Researchers at that time confirmed that the building blocks required for genetic material were available during ancient times on Earth. While they stopped short of saying that meteors alone provided life's building blocks, they believed it was a huge contribution. Superscript 2. This discovery supports the notion that a massive meteor shower could have seeded Earth with DNA building blocks during ancient times. In addition to this, there's also reason to think that life could have formed as it traveled through space on its way to Earth. Number 3. Panspermia. Panspermia is a very old concept. An ancient Greek philosopher named Anaxagoras first proposed the idea in 500 BC. Later in 1903, it was called panspermia by Nobel laureate Svante Arrhenius. It consists of a theory where germs and plants continuously drift through space. The term panspermia is a Greek term meaning seeds everywhere. Today, some of the greatest modern thinkers believe that life spreading from planet to planet via panspermia is a viable hypothesis. There have been very prominent scientists from Harvard, MIT, and NASA that have invested many years in funding and researching this possibility. Even Stephen Hawking believed that life did not start on Earth. Hawking's version of panspermia was a ballistic one. He believed this scenario was dependent on the time when life began on Earth. The earliest fossils of life began appearing around 500 million years after the temperature on Earth had cooled adequately to support any form of life. Superscript 3. Number 2. Fossil evidence. The earliest indication of life forms on Earth took place about 3.83 billion years ago. Several series of intensive meteor showers occurred during the period. And since there was a considerable barrage of comets slamming into Earth, any life trying to form would have faced extinction. Of course, we've learned how meteors annihilated the dinosaurs. One such meteor was about the size of Mount Everest, and it subsequently made the surface of the Earth hotter than the Sun. While it would seem that this heat and fury indeed wiped out all life on Earth, these meteors could also have been delivering new life to the planet. Science has taught us that evolution is incredibly slow. For a single-cell life form to become multicellular required billions of years. The meteor showers ceased a little earlier than 3.8 billion years ago. and evidence of life took place after that. If Earth had cooled down at that time, then life could have evolved from that point. Thus, the timeline does support the theory, and several scientists point to these ancient fossils as evidence of panspermia. Number 1. Organic molecules and amino acid found in space clouds. When scientists first collected samples from dusty, gaseous clouds surrounding comets, they called it stardust. Amazingly, complex organic molecules, phosphorus, and amino acid were discovered in these stardust samples. Amino acids provide the foundation of proteins, which is crucial to all of life. This remarkable discovery also fully supports the panspermia theory. Scientists involved in the study concluded that comets possess everything needed to create life, with the exception of energy. But when comets enter a warm environment, like an ocean or Earth's atmosphere, energy is supplied, and there's no reason why life wouldn't begin forming. All indications suggest that life's molecular building blocks are pretty common in space in the form of stardust.